Hey guys, I'm Cory Marks, and you're listening to Rhino Radio.
So again, through the magic of the interwebs, even though in quarantine, we are talking to Cory Marks. How are you doing?
Hey, War, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very good. It's kind of rainy, but it kind of fits the mood. But I have a feeling you're going to cheer us up with some words and tunes later. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a little dark on the darker side today here where I am, but we've been blessed with 4 or 5 days of blue skies and sunshine. So this is just one off day, but hopefully we get that sun back soon.
Always on the silver lining, Cory, always.
That's right.
So I want to talk to you about the things you were doing just before everything changed. But I'm kind of new to country. I'm more on the rock side, but I know the country is more on the kind of traditional nature, old school vibe of just men and nature. Obviously, women are invited as well. But between nature and humankind, and not about the digital side, but you just came back from a part of a tour called #Redneck. So how is it between country and the digital age? Where does it fit?
Yeah, so we were crossing Canada on the #Redneck tour with my good buddy Gord Bamford, and of course, due to all this, all this COVID stuff going on, we had scheduled 20 plus shows, but we were only able to do three, so we were so now it's postponed till the fall. And as you know, I'm a live guy. I love being on that stage and entertaining and being around people and meet my fans and obviously throw a little rock into my country show, if you will. And so even though I'm technically a country artist, I like to say that I'm a country artist with rock and roll attitude.
And before you kind of got rebranded, you released an album in 2015, and one of the main songs on it was called Smartphone, even stupid on a smartphone.
Yeah.
Where do you fit in there? What's the stupidest thing you got caught on a smartphone?
Oh, geez, man. Well, I mean,
too many.
Yeah. We probably shouldn't talk about that, but no, just the typical. I think that song there is that's one of the first songs that I wrote in Nashville with my good buddies Jason Deere and Rob Crosby, and I think now more than ever that song is even more relatable, especially the way Instagram has blown up. And there's a line in there that talks about 40 friends like it on Instagram. But that song Smartphone, I think, is relevant. It was relevant 6 years ago when I wrote it, and I think it's even more relevant now, I suppose, of what's going on in the world and how more than just regular Joes getting caught for doing stuff like maybe sexting or something like that when they're not supposed to. Now there's celebrities, there's people in power that are also getting caught doing silly things, or maybe caught saying things they shouldn't say because of everyone recording everything on a cell phone these days.
So does it mean that the old music is also coming back with a new kind of rocky polishing to it?
Well, what's recorded is recorded, and that's what's out. But during my live shows, I definitely still play some of those songs off the record, like Smartphone and 21, and a song called Nowhere With You, and of course the title track, This Man. And those still go over very well. Actually, since the rebrand and since the release of Outlaws and Outsiders, my songs off that record, well, those four actually have spiked up tremendously, and it's been pretty cool to see people both on the country side of music and rock side of music, and even metal in some cases, connect with those songs off my first record up here in Canada.
So before we jump on to the new start with Outlaws and Outsiders, I want to just ask one more thing about the ending of the previous phase. So you got rebranded recently, even though we have an album in 2015, This Man. We're looking forward to the new album. But between the style change, there's a rumor that you got rebranded because you're actually running away from some exes. Is that true?
No, that's not true. The whole... although it could be, I just don't know it yet. But no, the name change was just, well, I grew up playing hockey, obviously up in Canada, and that was actually one of my nicknames on my hockey team, because a lot of people can't pronounce my last name properly, which is Markward, and so I've heard like Marquette, Marquart, Marquetted, all kinds of crazy things. So I thought, Kevin and I thought, like, I actually didn't want to change it. And then over time, as we were recording the record, the more I would hear it messed up or people fumble it, I thought, man, maybe we should just figure a way to change it. And I just came up out of nowhere, Cory Marks, because my teammates would often call me that, hey, Marks, they would just call me Marks for short. And and Kevin just said, man, I like that. And that's kind of, we just took that and ran with it basically, and ended up working pretty well.
Well, welcome, Cory Marks, the new name, the new trend. And we just got exposed to Outlaws and Outsiders. Such a great introduction that fuses both music styles, country and rock. You have some great friends joining you on the track. But it kind of confused me because a lot of people still like pigeonholing, saying you're country, you're rock. Mm-hmm. Does it help the rivalry end?
Well, I mean, again, like, I am a country rock artist. I mean, I grew up on, on one side I grew up on Waylon Jennings, Haggard, Jimmy Rogers, even going back then, and then the newer stuff like Brad Paisley and Vince Gill, and even Shania Twain, of course. So I grew up on that stuff, but I also grew up, of course, being Canadian and being a drummer before a singer-songwriter. I grew up with the likes of Rush and Deep Purple, into the heavier stuff like Ozzy Osbourne and Whitesnake, and even heavier into my teens. With bands like Pantera, Lamb of God, and Arch Enemy and stuff like that. So, and of course, Dream Theater. So, I kind of, that's kind of really what the title is initiating, is that I am who I am, and I think those are all great genres of music. I love all those genres and bands, which is country, rock, and even metal. And so that's what we wanted to do, was infuse all those sounds and acts together, which makes Cory Marks. And, if I could describe the record for its sound, given the country matter and rock and even again some metal in there, it's basically a mix of Merle Haggard, Eric Church, and Ozzy Osbourne, and there's no other sound like it out there, both in rock or country. So I think it's something different. It gives people something new to listen to, and I think nowadays, because there's so many cross genres now, it's either good music or it's not so good music, and just hoping we're on the good side of things.
And with being so open about everything you like listening to, do you believe in the phrase guilty pleasure?
Of course. Yeah, everyone's got guilty pleasures.
So what's yours? Are you going to share something with us?
A guilty pleasure of mine? Geez. Well, that depends on what context, but aside from music, I am in the works on getting my private pilot license. So I do a guilty pleasure for me is definitely getting up in the air and rolling around and pulling some G's, we like to call vitamin G, and have a little fun. I've always been a fan of aviation and air shows and stuff like that, and I plan on being part of that kind of stuff too down the line.
And again, on the kind of different styles of your listening habits, you've mentioned Lamb of God and Arch Enemy. They are in the kind of heavier vocals as well. Is it something that you thought about trying yourself, growling, or maybe collaborations with that kind of musicians?
Well, I mean, obviously having a guy like Ivan Moody from Five Finger on Outlaws has definitely added that bit of grunge to it vocally. But I don't tend to scream as much, or I'm not sure exactly how they use the terminology, but I definitely, I do cover Holy Diver from Dio, and I have gotten on with some rock bands and played Highway Star from Deep Purple, of course, David Coverdale or Glenn Hughes, whoever, whichever way. But if I sing differently, it's more on the, I guess, rock metal side, in a sense of, I guess, hairband metal type vocals, as opposed to the grungier stuff and deeper growling stuff. I could do a little bit of it, but it's not something I've really tested. But maybe eventually down the line, get involved in something like that. Of course,
always giving us something to expect and wait for. And again, going back to the traditional concept of country music, of what they portrayed, the manly man that goes out to the farm and goes out to the outbacks with his animals and then comes back, and they cannot cry, they cannot feel anything. But 2020 maybe changed the conversation. Is it going into music? Do you feel like it's surrounding you as well in the country rock scene?
I definitely if you go back to country, when country was country, the really in the 80s and prior to that, songs like, from, of course, guys like Merle Haggard and those guys, I'm sure they've shed a few tears, and they're only human, but they're also great songwriters too. So they were able to kind of offset that, that anger or sadness into their music, as opposed to maybe crying a little bit, if you will. But I think it's yeah, we're only human. It's okay to cry. It's okay to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that.
Again, thank you very much for sharing and opening up on that. And before we say goodbye, I want to confront you on one more rumor. When I was searching for the interview, I read that some of your fans think, and I want to hear your comment on that you are a true romantic. Is that true? After all those songs about getting drunk and partying, is romance actually your main passion?
Well, I mean, I like to party and have a good time, of course. But I was raised up by great family and great parents, so and surrounded by love as well. So that's something that I've been known to wear my heart on my sleeve. Yes, of course, and that's helped me out in my songwriting, both in good endings and in bad endings. So I think it's important, especially as a songwriter. I think it's a little tougher on us, but it definitely helps with the songwriting aspect of things when you're vulnerable in certain scenarios where you could open up about the good times and the bad. So I'm a lover and a fighter at times. I guess it just all depends.
Oh, the sweet words of Cory Marks. What can we wait in the near future from you? I know that there's an album coming out.
Yes, we're going to have an album coming out very soon. We don't have a set date yet, but we hope to have it out by summertime. And there's 12 or 13 tracks on that record, and I'm really excited to release that to the world and give you guys more music. And there's one more that's going to be going out on the record. And all I gotta say is that's another song that it's one of my favorite songs on the record because of this artist that's featured on it. Just sounds incredible, and I can't wait for the world to hear it. So I'm excited about all that.
I'm just getting more teases from you, but I will wait. I bet I will enjoy it. Anything else you want to add to fans and listeners before we say goodbye?
No, I think that's it. I just would like to shed some sunlight on everything that's going on around the world, to everybody around the world, to my fans and to the new fans and to everybody out there. Stay safe, be kind, and we'll all get through this together. And I can't wait to get back out on the road and hopefully see y'all soon.
Cory Marks, thank you very much. Cannot wait to get the new tracks and see you maybe in the UK very, very soon.
I would love that. Thank you, or appreciate it.
Thank you.